Beatrice stood frozen outside the heavy wooden door, her hand inches from the handle. Inside, men laughed. The sound echoed through the hallway of the private lounge, warm and careless. She had dressed carefully tonight. A soft blue dress, the one Min-jae had glanced at twice last week. She'd even practiced her smile in the car mirror, imagining his surprised face when she walked in with dinner. Stupid. So stupid. "Come on, Min-jae," a voice called out, teasing and loud. "You've been different lately. Smiling at your phone, leaving meetings early. Don't tell me you're actually falling for your wife." More laughter. Beatrice's heart hammered. She stepped closer, holding her breath. Then she heard his voice. Clear, casual, certain. "She's my wife on paper, nothing more." The room erupted. Men howled with laughter. Glasses clinked. Someone slapped a table. Beatrice felt the floor tilt. Her hands went cold. The carefully packed dinner container slipped from her fingers, but she caught it, muscle memory saving it before it crashed. She took one step back, then another. Her heels made no sound on the carpeted floor. Nobody inside heard her leaving. Nobody knew she'd been there at all. Just like nobody knew her heart was breaking into pieces small enough to slip through her ribs and disappear. She walked to the elevator, pressed the button, and waited. Her reflection stared back from the polished metal doors. Same face, same person. But something fundamental had changed in the last 60 seconds. The elevator arrived. She stepped in. The doors closed. Only then did she let the tears fall. But let me take you back. Back to where this all started. Back to 3 days ago, when Beatrice still believed in miracles. 3 years. That's how long she'd been married to Cha Min-jae. 3 years of living in the same house, eating breakfast at different times, sleeping in separate rooms. 3 years of being a wife only when guests visited or business required it. The marriage had been arranged. His family needed him settled, respectable. She'd needed a visa extension to finish her graduate work. A transaction, clean and clear. Or so she'd thought. But somewhere in those 3 years, Beatrice had made a terrible mistake. She'd started hoping. Tuesday evening, 3 days before the dinner incident, had been ordinary. Beatrice came home from her cafe, the small business she'd built quietly on the east side of Seoul. She'd showered, changed into comfortable clothes, and was reading in the living room when she heard the front door open. She glanced at the clock. 8:30. Min-jae never came home before midnight. He walked in, and she noticed immediately something was wrong. His shoulders sagged. His normally sharp eyes looked tired. He loosened his tie with one hand, the other running through his dark hair. "You're home early," Beatrice said, then wished she hadn't. They didn't do casual conversation. But Min-jae didn't ignore her like usual. Instead, he stopped, looked at her, really looked. "Have you eaten?" he asked. Beatrice blinked. "No. Have you?" "No." They stared at each other. Rain started pattering against the windows, soft at first, then harder. "I could make something," Beatrice offered, not sure why. "If you're hungry." She expected him to decline, to disappear into his study like always. But he nodded. Okay. They ended up in the kitchen together, which felt strange and new. Beatrice pulled ingredients from the refrigerator, while Min-jae washed his hands, rolled up his sleeves. "You cook?" she asked, surprised. "I used to, before all this." He gestured vaguely, meaning his life, his business, everything that kept him away. They made kimchi fried rice together. Simple, easy. But standing side by side at the counter, their hands brushed twice. The second time, neither of them pulled away quickly. "Hey, I know you're enjoying this story, and trust me, it gets even more intense. But before we continue, do me a quick favor. Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss what happens next, because Beatrice's next move will shock you. Seriously, subscribe now. Let's get back to the story." The rice sizzled in the pan. Min-jae added the kimchi, and the familiar, spicy smell filled the kitchen. Beatrice set the table, poured water, found chopsticks. They sat down across from each other. The rain poured outside, creating a bubble of sound that somehow made the silence between them comfortable instead of awkward. "This is good," Beatrice said after the first bite. You sound surprised. I am. You're full of surprises tonight. Min-jae smiled. Actually smiled. Beatrice had seen him smile before, but never like this. Never real. Can I ask you something? He said. Sure. Why did you agree to this marriage? Really? Beatrice considered lying, keeping it surface level. But something about tonight felt different. I needed time, she said honestly. My visa was expiring. I wasn't ready to leave Korea. My research wasn't finished. And I thought, it's just paperwork. 2 years, maybe 3. Then we both move on. But nothing. That's still the plan, isn't it? Min-jae looked at his plate. I guess it is. They finished eating. Beatrice stood to clear the dishes, but Min-jae stopped her. Leave them, he said. Just for tonight. They moved to the living room, sat on opposite ends of the couch, a careful distance between them. The rain continued, steady and sure. Tell me something about you I don't know, Min-jae said suddenly. Beatrice laughed. That could be anything. We don't exactly talk. Then start anywhere. So she did. She told him about growing up in Ethiopia, about her grandmother who raised her, about moving to Seoul 5 years ago, with 1 suitcase and terrible Korean language skills. She told him about her cafe, which she'd never mentioned before, because he'd never asked. You own a cafe? Min-jae leaned forward, interested. Where? Itaewon. Small place. I roast my own coffee beans. Ethiopian coffee, the way my grandmother taught me. I didn't know. You never asked. The words came out sharper than intended, but Min-jae didn't flinch. You're right. I didn't. I'm asking now. So Beatrice told him more. About her regular customers. About the Korean grandmother who came every morning and was teaching her to make proper kimchi. About her dreams of expanding, maybe opening a second location. Then Min-jae talked. Really talked. About his sister who was studying in the States. About his mother, who called him every Sunday and asked when he'd have children, not understanding that his marriage wasn't that kind of marriage. About his father, who died 3 years ago and left him an empire he'd never wanted. Then why do you run it? Beatrice asked. Because someone has to. Because people depend on it. Because I don't know who I'd be if I didn't. The honesty startled her. This wasn't the cold, distant man she'd lived with for 3 years. This was someone real. Someone complicated and tired, and maybe just as lonely as she was. The night stretched on. They talked about everything and nothing. Music they loved, places they wanted to visit, stupid things that made them laugh. Beatrice couldn't remember the last time she'd laughed like this. Around midnight, Min-jae yawned. I should let you sleep. But neither of them moved. Min-jae, Beatrice said softly. Why tonight? Why are you suddenly here? He was quiet for a long moment. I saw an old couple today. At a restaurant. They must have been married 50 years. And the way the husband looked at his wife when she laughed, it made me think about what I'm missing. What we're missing. Beatrice's heart did something painful in her chest. We could have that, she whispered. Could we? We could try. Min-jae moved closer. Slowly, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. He reached for her hand, laced their fingers together. I'd like to try, he said. That night, for the first time in 3 years, they fell asleep together. No distance, no separate rooms, just 2 people who'd finally stopped pretending they were strangers. Beatrice woke up Wednesday morning, wrapped in warmth. Min-jae's arm was around her waist, his breathing slow and steady against her neck. She lay still, afraid to move and break whatever spell had been cast. Sunlight filtered through the curtains. Outside, Seoul was waking up, but inside this room, time felt suspended. Finja stirred. His arm tightened slightly around her, and Beatrice wondered if he was awake. Hi, he murmured against her shoulder. Hi. They stayed like that, quiet and close. Beatrice felt hope blooming in her chest, bright and terrifying. Maybe they could really do this. Maybe they could turn their paper marriage into something real. Eventually, Min-jae had to leave for a meeting. He kissed her forehead before he went, casual and sweet, like they did this every morning, like it was normal. Beatrice floated through Wednesday in a daze. She went to her cafe, made coffee, chatted with customers. But her mind stayed on Min Jae, on the way he'd looked at her, on the possibility of more nights like last night. Thursday morning, he texted her. First time ever. Busy tonight, don't wait up. Simple, but he'd texted. That meant something, didn't it? Beatrice spent Thursday planning. She'd give him space, let him handle his business. But Friday, she decided. Friday she'd do something special. Maybe cook dinner for him. Maybe they'd talk again. Laugh again. Maybe this was the beginning of something beautiful. Friday afternoon, Min Jae's assistant called her. First time for that too. Mrs. Cha, the assistant said, formal and polite. Mr. Cha is hosting a small gathering tonight, at the Golden Club. He wanted you to know in case you needed anything. Beatrice's pulse jumped. He'd told his assistant to call her. He was thinking about her even while working. An idea formed. Bold, maybe stupid. But she was riding the high of hope. She'd surprise him. Bring dinner to the gathering. Nothing dramatic, just a sweet gesture. Show him she supported his work, that she wanted to be part of his life. She spent 2 hours cooking, made his favorite dishes, packed them carefully, changed into the blue dress she'd been saving, put on lipstick, perfume, drove to the Golden Club with her heart racing. Which brought her here, to this moment, standing outside the door, dinner in hand, hearing her husband laugh while telling his friends she meant nothing to him. The cab ride home blurred. Beatrice stared out the window, seeing nothing. Seoul's lights streaked past like tears. She walked into their house. Their house. When had she started thinking of it that way? The dishes from Tuesday night were still in the sink. Min Jae had said to leave them, just for that night. She'd left them there as a reminder. A good memory. Now they looked pathetic. Beatrice washed them carefully, dried them, put them away. Then she walked to the bedroom, the one they'd shared for exactly one night, and began packing Min Jae's things back into his own room. She worked methodically. His pillow, his phone charger, the book he'd been reading, every trace of him, removed. When the room looked like hers again, only hers, she sat on the bed and finally let herself cry properly. Big, ugly sobs that shook her whole body. She cried for the hope she'd felt, for the stupid, naive part of her that had believed one good night could change 3 years of indifference, for the woman she'd been 3 hours ago, smiling in her car mirror, practicing her entrance. She cried until she had nothing left. Then she got up, washed her face, and made a decision. She was done. Done hoping, done waiting, done being a wife on paper while her heart kept trying to make it real. She pulled out her laptop and booked a flight. One way to Lagos, Nigeria, where her cousin lived. 2 weeks from now. That would give her time to tie up loose ends. Sell the cafe. Close her bank accounts. Pack her life. Leave. The front door opened around 2 in the morning. Beatrice heard Min Jae come in. Heard him walk through the house. His footsteps paused outside her bedroom door. She held her breath. He knocked softly. "Beatrice, you awake?" She stayed silent. After a moment, his footsteps retreated. A door closed down the hall. His room. Good. He'd noticed. Beatrice rolled over and stared at the ceiling. 2 weeks. She could survive 2 weeks. She'd survived 3 years, after all. What was 2 more weeks? Saturday morning. Beatrice woke early and left the house before Min Jae got up. She went to her cafe and told her manager, a sweet Korean woman named Mrs. Park, that she needed to sell. Sell? Mrs. Park looked shocked. But why? Business is good. I'm going home. Back to Nigeria. Does your husband know? He will. Beatrice spent the weekend avoiding home. She stayed at the cafe late, visited friends, slept on her friend Jennifer's couch Sunday night. Jennifer, another African woman studying in Seoul, didn't ask questions, just gave her space and ice cream. Monday morning, Beatrice finally went home to change clothes. Min Jae was in the kitchen, making coffee. He looked up when she walked in. "Where were you?" I called. "Out." "All weekend?" "Yes." She moved to walk past him, but he caught her arm gently. "Beatrice, what's wrong? Did something happen?" She looked at his hand on her arm. He let go. "Nothing's wrong," she said calmly. "Everything is exactly what it's always been." Confusion flickered across his face. "I don't understand." "You don't need to." She walked to her room, changed quickly, and left again. She heard him call her name, but didn't stop. Let him be confused. Let him wonder. It didn't matter anymore. Tuesday, she met with a lawyer about selling the cafe, got her papers in order, transferred money to her Nigerian account. Wednesday, she started packing. Just small things at first. Photos, books, things Min-jae wouldn't notice missing. Thursday evening, she came home to find Min-jae waiting in the living room. "We need to talk," he said. "I'm tired." "Beatrice, please. You've been avoiding me for a week. Something's wrong." She set down her bag and looked at him. Really looked. He seemed worried, stressed, like he actually cared. But he'd seemed caring that Tuesday night too. And look how that had turned out. "I'm fine," she said. "Just busy." "Busy with what?" "My life." "Your life? We live together. We're married." The laugh escaped before she could stop it, sharp and bitter. Min-jae flinched. "What does that mean?" "It means exactly what you think it means." "I don't understand what happened. Things were good. Last week we talked. We actually connected. And now you're acting like I don't exist." Beatrice felt anger rise, hot and bright. "You don't understand? Really?" "No, I don't." "Friday night, the Golden Club. Does that ring a bell?" His face went blank. "I had a business meeting." "I know, I was there." "You were? I didn't see you." "I didn't come in, but I heard you." She watched understanding dawn slowly, watched the color drain from his face. "Beatrice," he started. "She's my wife, on paper, nothing more." She quoted his words back to him, her voice steady. "That's what you said, while your friends laughed. I can explain." "Don't bother. You said what you meant. I finally heard the truth. I should probably thank you for that." "It wasn't like that." "Then what was it like, Min-jae? Explain it to me." He opened his mouth, closed it, struggled. Beatrice nodded. "That's what I thought. Good night." She walked away, leaving him standing there. Friday morning, exactly 1 week after the incident, Min-jae knocked on her bedroom door before dawn. "Beatrice, I know you're awake." She was. She'd barely slept all week. "Please, let me explain. Go away. I made a mistake." "Yes, you did. You married me and wasted 3 years of my life." Silence. Then, quietly, "Is that really what you think?" "It's what I know." She heard him slide down the door, sitting on the other side. "That night," he said through the wood, "when they asked me about you, I panicked. I'd been thinking about you all week, about us, and it scared me. So I said the stupidest thing I could possibly say. I pushed you away before you could push me away first." Beatrice closed her eyes. "It was cowardice," Min-jae continued, "and cruelty, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this. What can I do? Tell me how to fix this." "You can't." She heard him stand, heard him walk away. Part of her wanted to open the door, to let him explain more. But the bigger part, the part that had heard him laugh, couldn't do it. Wouldn't do it. Saturday, Beatrice finalized the sale of her cafe. Mrs. Park bought it, tears in her eyes. "You're making a mistake," Mrs. Park said. "Maybe, but it's mine to make." Sunday, 1 week until her flight, Beatrice's phone rang. Min-jae's sister, Cha Yuna, calling from the States. "Unnie," Yuna said. She'd started calling Beatrice that last year. "Sister, what's going on? Min-jae called me. He sounds terrible." "Ask him." "I did. He won't tell me. Just keeps saying he messed up." Beatrice softened slightly. She liked Yuna. "It's complicated. He loves you, you know." "No, he doesn't." "He does. He's just an idiot about showing it. Love isn't enough, Yuna." "What is enough then?" Beatrice thought about it. "Respect. Trust. Being proud to stand next to me. Not just in private, but everywhere." "Did he disrespect you?" "Yes." Yuna was quiet. "Then make him fix it." "Some things can't be fixed." After they hung up, Beatrice felt exhausted. This was harder than she'd expected. Leaving should have been simple. She'd come to Korea alone. She'd leave alone. Full circle. So why did it feel like she was tearing herself in half? Monday brought a new complication. She came home to find flowers everywhere. The living room, the kitchen, her bedroom door. Hundreds of flowers. Min Jae sat in the middle of them, looking ridiculous and desperate. "I don't want flowers," Beatrice said. "I know, but I didn't know what else to do. Try nothing. Nothing would be good. I can't do nothing. Not when you're leaving." She froze. "How did you know?" "Your flight confirmation. You left your laptop open. You went through my things?" "I was desperate. I knew something was wrong, but you wouldn't talk to me. So yes, I looked. And I found a one-way ticket to Lagos for this Sunday." "That's none of your business. You're my wife. It's absolutely my business." "Your wife on paper," she corrected. "Nothing more." He flinched like she'd hit him. Min Jae stood up, pushing through the flowers. Some fell over, water spilling on the hardwood floor. Neither of them cared. "How many times do I have to apologize?" His voice cracked. "What do you want from me?" "Nothing. I want nothing from you. That's the point." "I don't believe that." Beatrice laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You don't believe me? That's rich. You don't get to decide what I feel." "Then tell me. Tell me you never cared. Tell me that week, that night, meant nothing to you. Look me in the eye and tell me you feel nothing." She met his gaze, held it. "That night made me believe we had a chance. Your words at that club reminded me we never did. And I'm grateful for that reminder before I wasted more time." "So, 3 years was a waste?" "Yes." The word landed between them like a grenade. Min Jae's jaw tightened. "Fine. Leave then. Run away. That's easier than fighting for something, right?" "Fighting for what? A man who's ashamed of me?" "I'm not ashamed of you." "Then what do you call laughing with your friends about how I mean nothing?" "I call it fear. I call it being terrified that I was starting to need you and not knowing how to handle it." "Well, congratulations. You handled it. You pushed me away. It worked." Beatrice walked to her room and locked the door. She heard Min Jae kick something, heard glass shatter, then silence. She waited for him to leave, but he didn't. All night, she sensed him out there. In the living room, in the hallway, nearby. Guarding what, she didn't know. Tuesday morning, 5 days before her flight, Beatrice's friend Jennifer called with news. "Girl, have you seen the internet?" "No." "Why?" "Someone's spreading rumors about you and Min Jae, saying he abuses you, saying that's why you're leaving." Beatrice's blood went cold. "What?" "It's all over social media. Pictures of you looking upset outside some club. Headlines about the Mafia boss's wife fleeing abuse." "That's insane. He never touched me." "I know that, but the internet doesn't care about truth. This is going viral." Beatrice hung up and searched her name. Jennifer was right. Articles, posts, wild speculation. Someone had photographed her outside the Golden Club that night, catching her distressed expression. The narrative had spiraled from there. Min Jae appeared in her doorway. She hadn't heard him approach. "I know about the rumors," he said. "Did you start them? Is this some ploy to make me stay?" He looked offended. "You really think I'd do that? I don't know what you'd do anymore. It's Lee Jin-suk, my political rival. He's been waiting for ammunition against me and he found it. So fix it." "I'm trying, but nothing I say will matter if you leave. That'll just confirm the story." Beatrice shook her head. "This is exactly what I didn't want. Drama, scandal. I just wanted a quiet exit." "Then don't exit. You can't be serious." Min Jae stepped closer. "Stay, even if you hate me, even if we go back to being strangers. Just stay long enough to kill the story, please." "Why should I help you?" "Because those rumors hurt you too. They're calling you a victim. Is that how you want to be remembered in Seoul? As someone who ran away scared?" He had a point. Beatrice hated that he had a point. 2 weeks, she said finally. "I'll stay 2 more weeks after my original flight date. We'll appear together a few times, act normal. Then I leave, and you tell people it's mutual, that I'm going home for family reasons. 1 month. 2 weeks, or I leave Sunday as planned." Min Jae calculated, then nodded. "Deal." They shook hands like business partners. The irony wasn't lost on Beatrice. Wednesday, they did their first public appearance. A charity gala Min Jae's mother was hosting. Beatrice wore a gold dress, Min Jae a dark suit. They arrived together, his hand at the small of her back. To everyone watching, they looked perfect. Smile, Min Jae murmured as cameras flashed. I am smiling. Smile like you mean it. You first. His mother, Mrs. Cha, swept over in a cloud of expensive perfume. She'd never been warm to Beatrice, but tonight she looked almost pleased. Finally, you both came together. People were starting to talk. People are always talking, Mother, Min Jae said smoothly. Well, let them talk about how lovely you look as a couple. Mrs. Cha patted Beatrice's arm. That dress suits you, dear. It was possibly the nicest thing she'd ever said. Beatrice managed a genuine smile. Thank you. They worked the room. Min Jae introduced her to people she'd never met despite 3 years of marriage. Business partners, politicians, old family friends. Each time he said, my wife, with his hand at her waist or shoulder, touching her like she mattered. Beatrice hated how good it felt. Before we go further, I need you to do something. Drop a comment right now and tell me what you think Beatrice should do. Should she give Min Jae another chance or leave Korea for good? Let me know your thoughts below, because this story is about to take a turn you won't see coming. During dinner, seated at a table with people she didn't know, Beatrice felt her phone buzz. A text from Yuna. You look beautiful tonight. Min Jae looks like he wants to eat you up. Maybe don't leave? Beatrice glanced at Min Jae. He was talking to the man on his right, gesturing as he explained something. He must have felt her looking, because he turned, caught her eye. For a second, something passed between them, something real. Then he looked away, and the moment broke. After dinner, dancing, Min Jae offered his hand. We should, for appearances. Of course, appearances. They moved to the floor. He pulled her close, one hand at her waist, the other holding hers. They swayed to something slow and classical. You're good at this, Beatrice said. My mother made me take lessons for years. I hated every second. It paid off. Did it? She looked up at him. He was already looking down at her. People are watching, she reminded him. Let them. Min Jae. Beatrice. Don't do this. Do what? Act like we're real. We're playing pretend, remember? His hand tightened slightly at her waist. What if I'm not pretending? Then you're a better actor than I thought. The song ended. Beatrice pulled away, but Min Jae caught her hand. One more, he said. We've done our duty. Please. That word, soft and simple, made her stay. They danced again. This time, she let herself relax slightly, let herself remember what it felt like to be held. Just for tonight, just for the performance. When they finally left, around midnight, Beatrice was exhausted. The taxi ride home was quiet. Min Jae stared out his window. She stared out hers. At home, they walked in together. Beatrice headed straight to her room. Thank you, Min Jae said behind her, for tonight. It was part of the deal. Still, thank you. She closed her door without responding. Thursday, Beatrice met with Jennifer for coffee. Her friend looked worried. You're playing with fire. I'm helping kill a rumor, that's all. Did you see the photos from last night? You two look like you're in love. We're good actors. Jennifer gave her a look. Who are you trying to convince? Me or yourself? Both? Neither. I don't know. What did he say that night? The real reason he called you nothing. Beatrice had told Jennifer everything. He said he was scared, that he was falling for me, and panicked. Do you believe him? Does it matter? Yes. Beatrice stirred her coffee. Even if I believe he was scared, even if I understand why he said it, the fact remains that he did say it. When his reputation was on the line, he chose to protect himself and throw me aside. What happens next time he gets scared? Next time his friends question him? Maybe there won't be a next time. Or maybe there will. I can't build a life on maybe. Jennifer nodded slowly. So you're really leaving? After the 2 weeks? Yes. Does he know that? That you're not changing your mind? He should. But does he? Beatrice didn't answer. Friday brought another complication. Min Jae's assistant called with an urgent request. A magazine wanted to do a feature on them. The perfect couple. At home. Intimate. Real. Absolutely not, Beatrice said. Mrs. Cha, it would go a long way toward ending the rumors. I said no. Min Jae took the phone from his assistant. What if we controlled it? Chose the questions. Approved the photos. 1 hour, then they leave. This wasn't part of the deal. The deal was to kill the scandal. This would do that faster than anything else. Beatrice wanted to refuse, but he was right. A positive feature would effectively end the abuse speculation. Fine, but I have conditions. No bedroom photos. No questions about children or future plans. And I approve everything before it runs. Done. The interview was scheduled for Sunday afternoon, 2 days away. Saturday, Beatrice went shopping for something to wear. She was in a boutique in Gangnam when she overheard 2 women talking. Did you see Cha Min-jae and his wife at the gala? So beautiful together. I never understood why we never saw her before. Apparently he's very protective, keeps her out of the spotlight. Beatrice almost laughed. Protective. That was one word for it. She bought a simple cream sweater and jeans. Comfortable. Casual. Wife at home. Sunday afternoon, the magazine team arrived. A journalist, a photographer, a stylist. They transformed the living room into a set, moving furniture, adjusting lighting. Min Jae came out in dark jeans and a soft gray sweater. He looked younger somehow, less severe. They want us on the couch, he said, looking cozy. Of course they do. They sat. The photographer directed them. Move closer, laugh, look at each other, touch his shoulder, put your hand on her knee. It felt invasive and fake, and Beatrice hated every second. Until the journalist started asking questions. How did you meet? Min Jae answered smoothly. Through mutual friends. I saw her across a room and knew I had to know her. Beatrice raised an eyebrow at the lie. He squeezed her hand in warning. Love at first sight? The journalist pressed. Something like that, Beatrice said. He was persistent. I had to be. She's extraordinary. She's the bravest person I know. Something in Beatrice's chest tightened. The journalist turned to her. And you, Mrs. Cha. Beatrice looked at Min Jae. At his face, familiar now after 3 years. At the scar on his chin from a childhood accident. At the way his hair fell slightly in his eyes. His dedication, she said slowly. When he commits to something, he gives it everything. He doesn't do anything halfway. Except us, she thought. He did us halfway. But Min Jae's expression shifted, like she'd said something profound, instead of polite filler. More questions followed. Their typical day, their favorite memories, their plans. Min Jae lied beautifully for both of them, painted a picture of a marriage full of quiet dinners, and inside jokes and comfortable silences. The irony was that he was describing the marriage they could have had, the one that existed for exactly 1 night. After the interview wrapped and the team left, Beatrice sagged into the couch. That was exhausting. You did great. I felt like a liar. We're protecting ourselves. That's not lying. That's survival. Beatrice looked at him. Is that what you tell yourself? What does that mean? Nothing. Never mind. She started to stand, but Min Jae caught her wrist. What I said in the interview, about you being brave, being extraordinary, that wasn't a lie. Min Jae. I mean it, Beatrice. I've watched you for 3 years. Watched you build a business, make friends, create a whole life in a country that wasn't always welcoming. You did that alone, because I was too stupid to be the partner you deserved. Why are you saying this now? Because I'm running out of time. She pulled her hand free. You had 3 years. I know. You can't fix 3 years in 2 weeks. I know that too, but I can try. Beatrice shook her head and walked away. She couldn't do this. Couldn't let him see that his words affected her. Monday, she woke to her phone exploding with notifications. The magazine had run a preview of their feature online. Photos of them on the couch, laughing. The headline read, Inside the Private World of Seoul's Most Mysterious Couple. Comments poured in. Positive, gushing, romantic. The abuse rumors evaporated like they'd never existed. Mission accomplished. Beatrice should have felt relieved. Instead, she felt empty. 1 week left. 7 days. Then she could leave. She went to the cafe, forgetting she'd sold it. Mrs. Park was rearranging things, making the space her own. "Oh, Beatrice. I didn't expect you. I forgot. Sorry. I'll go. Wait. I wanted to ask you something. Why did you really sell? Business was growing. You loved this place." Beatrice looked around. At the counter where she'd served thousands of cups of coffee. At the corner table where the Korean grandmother sat every morning. At the walls she'd painted herself. "I loved it," she agreed. "But I love myself more. And staying in Seoul was killing me slowly." Mrs. Park nodded like she understood. "Does this have to do with your husband?" "Everything has to do with my husband. That's the problem." Tuesday, Min Jae asked her to attend another event, a business dinner with potential partners from Japan. "This is important," he said. "These men are traditional. They respect family. Seeing me with my wife will smooth negotiations. So I'm a prop. You're my wife. On paper." He flinched. Good. She wanted him to feel even a fraction of what she'd felt. The dinner was in a private room at an expensive restaurant. Beatrice wore a deep red dress and smiled until her face hurt. She played her part perfectly. The devoted wife, supporting her husband, gracious and warm. The Japanese businessmen loved her. "Your wife is lovely," one said to Min Jae in English. "You're a lucky man." "I know," Min Jae replied, looking at her. "Luckier than I deserve." After dinner, in the car home, Beatrice felt brittle. How many more of these? What? How many more performances? I agreed to 2 weeks. We've done a gala, an interview, a business dinner. What's next? Meeting the president? Hosting a variety show? I'm not trying to torture you. Could have fooled me. Min Jae told the driver to pull over. They were near the Han River, the water dark and glittering with reflected lights. "Get out," Min Jae said. "What?" "Get out of the car. Walk with me." "It's late." "I don't care." He was already getting out. Beatrice followed, more from curiosity than obedience. They walked along the river path. Late-night joggers passed by. Couples on benches. Normal people, living normal lives. "I need to tell you something," Min Jae said, "and I need you to just listen. Don't interrupt. Don't leave. Just listen." Beatrice wrapped her arms around herself against the cool night air. "Fine. When my father died, I was 25. He left me an organization I didn't understand and didn't want. But I had no choice. My mother, my sister, hundreds of employees, they all depended on me. So I took over. And I learned fast that in this world, attachment is weakness. People use what you love against you. So I loved nothing." He paused, staring at the water. "Then my family insisted I marry, for appearance, for stability. I agreed, because it didn't matter. A wife on paper couldn't hurt me. A wife I didn't love was safe." Beatrice's throat tightened, but she stayed quiet. "You were perfect for that. You needed something. I needed something. A transaction. Except you didn't stay in the box I put you in. You were kind to my mother when she was cold to you. You sent my sister care packages at school. You made this house feel less empty, even when we weren't speaking. Min Jae, you said you'd listen." She closed her mouth. "That night, when we talked and laughed and I fell asleep next to you, I woke up terrified. Because I realized you weren't safe anymore. You'd become someone who could hurt me. And I've spent 7 years making sure nobody could hurt me. So when my friends asked if I was falling for you, I panicked. I said the cruelest thing I could think of to convince myself it wasn't true." He turned to face her. "But it was true. It is true. I'm falling for you, Beatrice. Maybe I've been falling since you moved in and reorganized the kitchen and started leaving notes on the coffee maker. Maybe it started when you learned Korean, by watching dramas and laughing at yourself when you got it wrong. Maybe it was watching you build a business from nothing. I don't know when it started. I just know that losing you feels like losing the only real thing I have." Beatrice felt tears threaten. She blinked them back. "You don't get to do this," she whispered. "Do what?" "Say beautiful things now, when it's too late." "It's not too late." "Yes, it is. Because even if I believe you, even if I believe you're falling for me, you already showed me what you'll do when you get scared. And I can't live wondering when you'll do it again. I won't." "You don't know that. Then let me prove it." How? Min Jae pulled out his phone. Made a call right there, in front of her. Who are you calling? Beatrice asked. Someone answered. Min Jae put it on speaker. This is Cha Min Jae. I'm calling to make a statement for tomorrow's paper. The voice on the other end perked up. A journalist. Mr. Cha, it's late. What kind of statement? A personal one. I want to publicly acknowledge my wife, Beatrice Walker Cha. She's not just my wife. She's my partner. The strongest person I know. And I've failed to honor her the way she deserves. That changes now. Beatrice's eyes widened. The journalist was scrambling. Can you elaborate? Is this about the rumors? This is about the truth. My wife is returning to Nigeria next week to visit family, and rumors have suggested she's leaving me. Let me be clear. She should leave me. I've been a terrible husband, but I'm hoping she'll give me a chance to be better. That's all. Print that. He hung up. Beatrice stared at him. You just told a journalist I should leave you. I told the truth. Your reputation, your business, your mother is going to kill you. I don't care. Min Jae. I don't care, Beatrice. Not about any of it, not if it costs me you. She didn't know what to say. This wasn't the man she'd married. That man protected his image above everything. Why? She asked. Because you're right. Words aren't enough. So I'm showing you. I'm choosing you over my pride, over my reputation, over everything. Beatrice turned away from him, looking at the river because she couldn't look at his face. The water moved slowly, catching light from the city, turning it into something beautiful. One statement doesn't change 3 years, she said quietly. I know. It doesn't erase what you said. I know that too. Then what do you want from me? Min Jae moved to stand beside her, close but not touching. A chance. Just a chance to prove I can be the husband you deserve. I'm leaving in 6 days. Then give me 6 days. Beatrice closed her eyes. Every logical part of her brain screamed to say no, to protect herself, to leave before he could hurt her again. But a smaller voice, the one that had made her cook dinner that rainy Tuesday, whispered something different. 6 days, she said, but I'm not promising anything. And if at any point I want you gone, you leave. No arguments. Deal. They stood by the river for another moment, then walked back to the car. The ride home was quiet, but it felt different than before, less hostile, more uncertain. Like maybe something had shifted. Wednesday morning, Beatrice woke to her phone ringing. Yuna, calling from the States. What did my brother do? My mom just called me screaming about some newspaper statement. Beatrice explained. Yuna listened, then laughed. Oh, he's actually serious. I didn't think he had it in him. Had what in him? The ability to be vulnerable. Our father raised him to think emotions were weakness. I've never seen Min Jae actually put his feelings out there. It might be too late. Is it? Are you still leaving? Yes, probably. I don't know. Yuna was quiet for a moment. Can I tell you something? Something I never told you before because Min Jae made me promise not to. What? 2 years ago, I got into trouble at school. Nothing terrible, but it could have gotten me expelled. Rumors, mean girls, the whole drama. You fixed it. Beatrice frowned. I don't know what you're talking about. Exactly. You didn't even know. Min Jae found out somehow. He told me you'd handled it quietly, talked to the right people, made it go away. He was furious I'd bothered you with my problems, but also grateful in this weird way he couldn't express. Yuna, I really didn't do anything. Check your sent emails from October 2 years ago. Beatrice put Yuna on speaker and opened her email, strolled back, found a thread she'd completely forgotten. A girl from Yuna's school had reached out, explaining a situation. Beatrice had made some calls to people she'd met through Min Jae's connections. Nothing major. She'd forgotten about it entirely. Oh, Beatrice said softly. You didn't even remember, because you weren't doing it for credit. You just did it because you're a good person. And Min Jae knew that. He told me once that you were too good for our family, that we didn't deserve you. He said that? Word for word. Then he told me never to tell you, because it was easier if you didn't expect anything from him. After they hung up, Beatrice sat with this information. It didn't excuse what Min Jae had said at the club, but it complicated things. She went to find him, He was in his study, on the phone, speaking rapid Korean. When he saw her, he ended the call quickly. "Is everything okay?" he asked. "Why didn't you tell me about Yuna, about what I did to help her?" Min-jae looked confused, then understanding dawned. "She told you. Why keep it secret?" He ran a hand through his hair. A gesture she'd learned meant he was uncomfortable. "Because you did it without expecting anything. That's rare in my world. I didn't want to ruin it by making it transactional. You could have just said thank you." "I should have. I should have said a lot of things." Beatrice sat in the chair across from his desk. "Tell me about your father." "Why?" "Because I've been married to you for 3 years, and I know almost nothing about your family. If we're doing this, really trying, I need to understand you." Min-jae leaned back, looking at the ceiling. "My father was a hard man. Brilliant, but cold. He loved me in his way, but his way involved preparing me to take over the business. That meant no weaknesses, no soft emotions. He used to say that love was a luxury people like us couldn't afford." "Do you believe that?" "I did. For a long time, I did. And now?" Min-jae looked at her. "Now I think maybe he was wrong, or maybe I'm just tired of being right and lonely." Something in Beatrice's chest cracked open slightly. Thursday, Min-jae asked her to spend the day with him. No events, no performances, just them. "Doing what?" Beatrice asked suspiciously. "Whatever you want, your choice." She thought about it. "I want to go to Bukchon, the traditional village. I've always wanted to go, but never had time. Then we'll go." They took the subway, which surprised her. "No driver?" "You said no performances. I meant it." Bukchon Hanok village was beautiful. All traditional houses and narrow streets. Tourists took photos everywhere. Beatrice and Min-jae walked slowly, looking at everything. "It's like stepping back in time," Beatrice said. "My grandmother lived in a house like these. I spent summers here as a kid, before everything changed." "What was that like?" "Simple. Good. I didn't know anything about the business then. Just ate ice cream and played in the streets." They stopped at a small tea house, ordered traditional tea and rice cakes, sat by the window watching people pass. "Can I ask you something?" Min-jae said. "Sure." "Why did you say yes to the marriage? You said you needed a visa, but there were other ways. Why agree to marry a stranger?" Beatrice stirred her tea. "Honestly, I was tired. Tired of fighting immigration systems. Tired of being alone in a foreign country. You offered a solution that let me breathe for a while. I thought I could handle a loveless marriage if it meant stability." "Could you handle it?" "For a while, yes. Then it got harder." "When?" She smiled sadly. "You really want to know?" "Yes." "About a year in, you came home late one night, drunk. You didn't even see me in the living room, but you were crying. Just quietly sitting in the dark, crying. I wanted to ask what was wrong, but we didn't have that kind of relationship, so I just went to bed. But after that, I kept noticing things. How tired you looked, how alone you were, and I started wishing I could help." Min-jae looked stunned. "I don't remember that night." "You wouldn't. You were pretty out of it. You never said anything." "What would I have said? We were strangers. We don't have to be anymore." Beatrice met his eyes. "No, I guess we don't." They spent the whole day together, walking, talking, learning. Beatrice told him about her grandmother in Ethiopia, about learning to roast coffee at 8 years old. Min-jae told her about his sister, about their childhood adventures. It felt easy, natural, like that Tuesday night had felt. Beatrice tried not to think about how that night had ended. Friday evening, 3 days before her flight, Min-jae's mother called requesting dinner. Both of them. "She knows I'm leaving," Beatrice said. "Probably. Will you come anyway?" "Do I have a choice?" "Yes, you always have a choice." Beatrice thought about it. "I'll come. I should say goodbye properly." Dinner at the Cha family home was tense. Mrs. Cha had prepared a full traditional meal. She was polite, formal, watching them both carefully. Over soup, she finally spoke. "I read the statement." "The one in the newspaper?" Min-jae nodded. "I'm sure you did. It was foolish, exposing yourself like that. It was honest." Mrs. Cha turned to Beatrice. "Are you really leaving?" "That's the plan." Because my son is an idiot, or for other reasons. Beatrice blinked, surprised by the directness. Both, maybe. Mrs. Cha almost smiled. Fair enough. Can I tell you something? Of course. I was arranged to marry Min Jae's father. I didn't love him at first. I wasn't sure I ever would. But over time, we built something. Not passionate romance, but partnership, respect. And in the end, when he died, I realized I had loved him, just not the way movies show love. She paused, setting down her chopsticks. I was cold to you when you married Min Jae, because I thought you were like the other girls who chased him, using him for money and status. I was wrong. You never asked him for anything. You built your own life. That's rare. And precious. Beatrice didn't know what to say. I'm not asking you to stay, Mrs. Cha continued. If you need to go, go. But don't go thinking you're not valued here. Don't go thinking you didn't matter. Because you did. You do. After dinner, in the car home, Beatrice was quiet. You okay? Min Jae asked. Your mother basically just told me she approves of me. After 3 years. She's not great with timing. Apparently it runs in the family. Min Jae laughed. Actually laughed. The sound filled the car, warm and real. Can I help? I'm not sure how to answer that. Try the truth. Beatrice sat on her bed, surrounded by half-full suitcases. The truth is I'm confused. These last few days have been good, really good. But I can't forget what happened. I can't just pretend you didn't hurt me. I'm not asking you to forget. I'm asking you to see that I'm trying to be better. I see it, I do. But Min Jae, what happens when life gets hard again? When you get scared again? Will you push me away? Will you say cruel things to protect yourself? He came and sat beside her on the bed. I don't know. I want to promise I won't, but I don't know if I can keep that promise. What I can promise is that I'll try. Every single day, I'll try to be brave enough to deserve you. That's not very reassuring. It's honest, though. Beatrice laughed despite herself. Yeah, it is. They sat in silence for a moment. What if we started over? Min Jae said suddenly. What do you mean? What if you still go to Nigeria, visit your family, take the time you need, and I'll be here, working on myself, figuring out how to be better. And then, when you're ready, if you're ready, you come back, and we start fresh. Date properly. Do this right. Beatrice considered it. You'd wait, not knowing if I'd come back? Yes. Why? Because you're worth waiting for. Because I wasted 3 years. I can wait a few months to try and fix that. It was possibly the most romantic thing he'd ever said to her. I'll think about it, Beatrice said quietly. Saturday night, Min Jae cooked dinner. He insisted, even though Beatrice offered to help. She sat at the counter, watching him work. He was careful, methodical, the same way he did everything. Where did you learn to cook? She asked. My grandmother, the summers in Bukchon. She said a man who couldn't feed himself couldn't be trusted. Smart woman. She would have liked you. Yeah? She valued strength, independence. You have both. They ate together at the table. Kimchi stew, rice, side dishes. Simple food, but made with care. This is good, Beatrice said. Don't sound so surprised. I'm full of surprises tonight. After dinner, they cleaned up together, moving around the kitchen in sync, passing dishes, comfortable silence. It felt domestic, married, real. Beatrice tried not to think about how much she'd wanted this for 3 years. Sunday morning, flight day. Beatrice woke early, her packed bags by the door. Min Jae was already up, making coffee. Couldn't sleep? She asked. Not really. They drank coffee together, watching the sunrise through the living room windows. Souls woke up slowly around them. I called a car, Min Jae said, to take you to the airport. Thank you. Can I come with you? To the airport? Beatrice thought about it. Yes, I'd like that. The drive was quiet. Beatrice watched the city pass, memorizing it. The streets she'd walked, the neighborhoods she'd explored. 3 years of her life, compressed into a car ride. At the airport, Min Jae helped with her bags. They stood in the departure hall, surrounded by people saying goodbye. So this is it, Beatrice said. For now. For now. she agreed. Min Jae pulled an envelope from his jacket. Open this on the plane. What is it? A letter. Things I needed to say but didn't know how. Beatrice took it, tucked it in her bag. They stood there, awkward and uncertain. Then Min Jae pulled her into a hug. A real one, tight and warm. I'm sorry, he whispered into her hair. For everything, for wasting time. For being afraid. For hurting you. Beatrice let herself hold him back. I know. Come back, he said. When you're ready. If you're ready, I'll be here. She pulled away, looked up at him. His eyes were red. Goodbye, Min Jae. Not goodbye. See you later. Beatrice smiled, despite the tears threatening. See you later. She walked toward security. Didn't let herself look back. If she looked back, she might not leave. And she needed to leave. Needed space to think, to heal, to figure out what she really wanted. On the plane, after takeoff, she opened the envelope. Min Jae's handwriting filled several pages. Beatrice started reading. Beatrice, I'm not good with words when you're looking at me, so I'm writing this hoping it comes out right. You asked me once what I wanted from this marriage. I said, stability, appearance, a solution to family pressure. I lied. Or maybe I didn't know I was lying. What I wanted was safety, a wife who wouldn't matter, who I couldn't lose because I never had her in the first place. But you made that impossible. You weren't content to be a ghost in my house. You lived. You laughed. You filled our home with small kindnesses I didn't deserve. You left notes on the coffee maker. Good morning. Have a good day. Small things that meant everything. You learned Korean by watching dramas and practicing with my mother's housekeeper. You sent my sister care packages and never mentioned it. You protected my family's reputation more than once, asking nothing in return. You built a business with your own hands, while I was too busy to notice. You were everything I didn't know I needed. And when I finally saw it, when I finally felt myself falling for you, I panicked. That night at the Golden Club, when they asked if I was falling for you, I was terrified. Because yes, I was falling. And in my world, falling means getting hurt. So I said the cruelest thing I could think of. I laughed with them. I dismissed you. I protected myself. And I broke you. I've been trying to fix it ever since, but I realize now that maybe it can't be fixed. Maybe I damaged something irreparable. If that's true, I understand. But if there's any chance, any possibility that you could forgive me, I'll wait. I'll work on being braver. On being the kind of man who doesn't run when things get real. I'll become someone worthy of you. And if you come back, I'll spend every day proving that you made the right choice. If you don't come back, I'll understand that too. Either way, thank you. Thank you for 3 years of patience with a man who didn't deserve it. Thank you for seeing something in me worth staying for, even when I couldn't see it myself. Thank you for teaching me that marriage on paper means nothing, but marriage of hearts means everything. I love you, Beatrice Walker. I'm sorry it took me so long to say it. I love your strength, your kindness, your laugh, the way you hum while cooking, the way you fall asleep reading. Everything. I love you. And I'll be here, waiting, hoping you might love me back someday. Min Jae. Beatrice read it 3 times. Tears fell on the pages, smudging the ink slightly. She looked out the airplane window at clouds and sky, and for the first time in months, she smiled. Really smiled. Because she realized something. Min Jae had asked for a chance. For time to prove himself. But time wasn't the issue. The issue was trust. And trust wasn't built through grand gestures or beautiful letters. Trust was built through consistent action, through showing up, day after day, being the person you promised to be. Could Min Jae do that? Could he really change? Beatrice didn't know. But maybe, just maybe, he deserved the chance to try. She pulled out her phone, turned off airplane mode for just a moment, before they flew too high. Sent a text. I read your letter. Thank you for being honest. I need time with my family. But Min Jae, I'll come back. Not because you asked, but because I want to see if we can build something real. See you in 2 months. She turned the phone back to airplane mode before she could see his response. Nigeria welcomed her with heat and noise, and the familiar chaos of home. Her cousin picked her up at the airport, talking non-stop about family gossip and local news. Beatrice let it wash over her, feeling lighter than she had in months. 2 months, she'd said. 2 months to heal, to think, to remember who she was, outside of being Min Jae's wife. And then she'd go back. Not to the same marriage, not to being a wife on paper, but to try something new, something real, something worth fighting for. Back in Seoul, Min Jae sat in his empty house, phone in hand, reading and rereading her text. "I'll come back." 3 words. The best 3 words he'd ever received. He had 2 months. 2 months to become the kind of man Beatrice deserved. 2 months to prove that he could change. He got to work. First, he called his therapist, made twice weekly appointments, started actually dealing with his issues instead of burying them. Second, he restructured his business, delegated more, worked less, created space in his life for an actual life. Third, he called Yuna, told her everything, asked for advice. "Don't screw this up again," his sister said. "Beatrice is the best thing that ever happened to you." "I know." "Then act like it." Fourth, he went to his mother, told her he was going to do better, be better. Mrs. Cha patted his hand. "About time you grew up." The weeks passed slowly. Min Jae worked on himself, went to therapy, read books on emotional intelligence, practiced being vulnerable with people he trusted. It was the hardest thing he'd ever done. But every time he wanted to quit, he thought about Beatrice, about her smile, her laugh, her strength. He thought about getting a second chance, about not wasting it. So he kept going. In Nigeria, Beatrice reconnected with her family, her cousin's kids, her aunt who still lived in their grandmother's house. She visited the places of her childhood, remembered who she'd been before Korea, before Min Jae. And slowly, she healed. She thought about Min Jae often, wondered what he was doing, if he was really changing, or if it was temporary. She wouldn't know until she went back. 6 weeks into her trip, a package arrived. From Seoul. Inside was a photo album, pictures of their 3 years together. Pictures she didn't know existed. Her at the cafe, concentrating on roasting beans. Her at a park, feeding ducks. Her reading on their couch, completely absorbed. Her laughing with Mrs. Park. Hundreds of photos, all of her. All taken by Min Jae, apparently. A note was tucked inside. "I saw you, even when I pretended not to. You were always the most beautiful thing in my life. I just didn't have the courage to tell you. I'm finding that courage now. See you soon, I hope." Beatrice held the album and cried, happy tears this time. 8 weeks in, she booked her return flight. Before we reach the end of this journey, I want to hear from you one last time. What do you think happens when Beatrice returns to Seoul? Drop your predictions in the comments. And if you've made it this far, you need to subscribe right now. Click that button, because you've invested in Beatrice and Min Jae's story. You deserve to see how it ends. Subscribe, then let's finish this. 2 months to the day after she left, Beatrice landed in Seoul. Min Jae was waiting at arrivals. She saw him before he saw her. He looked different, lighter somehow, less burdened. Then he spotted her, and his face transformed. Pure joy. He didn't run to her, walked slowly, carefully, giving her space to change her mind. But Beatrice didn't need space. She closed the distance, dropped her bag, and hugged him. "Hi," she said. "Hi," he said back. "You came back. I said I would." "I know, but I was still terrified you wouldn't." They pulled apart, looked at each other. "You look different," Beatrice said. "I am different, or I'm trying to be. Tell me everything." They went to a cafe, not her old one, somewhere neutral. Ordered coffee, and talked. Min Jae told her about therapy, about the work he'd been doing, about dismantling his emotional walls brick by brick. "It's hard," he admitted. "Some days I want to quit, but then I remember why I'm doing it. Why? You, us, the chance at something real." Beatrice told him about Nigeria, about reconnecting with family, about remembering herself. "I needed that time," she said, "to heal, to figure out what I wanted." "And what do you want?" She looked at him. At this man she'd married on paper 3 years ago. This man who'd hurt her and was trying to heal them both. "I want to try," she said. "Really try. Not a marriage on paper. A real partnership." "Yes," Min Jae said immediately. "Whatever that looks like, yes. It looks like therapy. For both of us. Together. Okay. It looks like you meeting my family properly. Coming to Nigeria with me next time. I'd love that. It looks like separate bedrooms, until we build real trust." Min Jae nodded. "Whatever you need. And it looks like you telling your business associates, your friends, everyone, that I'm not just your wife. I'm your partner. No more dismissing me. No more protecting yourself at my expense. Done. Already done, actually. I've been introducing you as my partner for the last month, even though you weren't here." Beatrice smiled. Show off. Just making up for lost time. They talked for hours. Made plans, set boundaries, discussed expectations. It felt grown up, healthy, real. As the sun set, they walked back to the car. "Can I take you to dinner?" Min Jae asked. "On a proper date?" "I'd like that." He took her to a small Ethiopian restaurant in Itaewon. Beatrice laughed in surprise. "How did you find this place?" "I've been learning. About Ethiopia, about your culture. I figured if I wanted to understand you, I should understand where you came from." They ate injera and shared dishes. Min Jae asked questions about the food, the traditions, everything. He was trying, really trying. After dinner, he drove her home, to their house. It felt different now, less like a prison, more like a possibility. "I'll take the guest room," Min Jae said at the door, like we agreed. "Okay." He started to walk away, then turned back. "Beatrice, thank you. For coming back. For giving me another chance. I won't waste it." "I know," she said, and she meant it. That night, lying in her own bed in Seoul, Beatrice felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Real, solid, grounded hope. The next few months weren't easy. They went to therapy together, learned to communicate, fought sometimes, made up, slowly built trust. Min Jae introduced her proudly at every event, supported her when she decided to open a new cafe, showed up, consistently, day after day. Beatrice learned to voice her needs, to set boundaries, to believe that she deserved a partner who valued her. They went on dates, real dates, movies and museums and long walks by the river. They learned each other slowly, properly, the way they should have from the beginning. 6 months after Beatrice returned, they renewed their vows. A small ceremony, just close family and friends. But this time, the words meant something. This time, they weren't just signing papers. They were choosing each other, fully, completely. "I, Min Jae, take you, Beatrice, to be my wife, not on paper, but in my heart, for real this time. I, Beatrice, take you, Min Jae, to be my husband, my partner, my choice." Mrs. Cha cried. Yuna filmed everything. Their friends cheered. And when they kissed, it felt like a beginning. The real beginning. Later, at the reception, someone asked Min Jae about his wife. He pulled Beatrice close, looked at her with pure love, and said clearly for everyone to hear, "She's my wife, my partner, my best friend, the love of my life, and I'm the luckiest man in the world." Beatrice smiled up at him. "Took you long enough to figure that out." Better late than never? Much better. They danced, surrounded by people who loved them, and for the first time in their marriage, everything felt right. Not perfect. They'd still have hard days, still have to work at it, but real, true, worth fighting for. As the night wound down, Beatrice and Min Jae stood on the balcony, looking at Seoul's lights. "Happy?" Min Jae asked. "Very," Beatrice said. "You?" "Incredibly." He took her hand, laced their fingers together. "Thank you," he said softly, "for not giving up on me, on us. Thank you for becoming someone worth staying for." They stood in comfortable silence, watching the city. "Min Jae?" "Yeah? I love you." It was the first time she'd said it, the first time she'd let herself be that vulnerable. Min Jae turned to her, eyes bright with emotion. "I love you too, so much, more than I knew I could love anything." He kissed her then, soft and sweet, and full of promise. And Beatrice knew, deep in her bones, that they were going to be okay. Better than okay. They were going to be happy. The marriage that had started on paper, hollow and empty, had become something beautiful, something real. It had taken pain, growth, time apart and time together, hard work and uncomfortable conversations, but they'd made it. From a wife on paper to a wife of his heart, from strangers sharing a house to partners building a life. It wasn't the fairy tale beginning Beatrice had once dreamed of, but the ending, the real story they built together, was better than any fairy tale. Because it was theirs. Fought for, earned, real. And that made all the difference. If you made it to the end of Beatrice and Min Jae's story, I need you to do something for me right now. Subscribe to this channel, because I have more stories like this coming. Stories that will make you feel every emotion possible. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and drop a comment telling me what you thought of this journey. Did Beatrice make the right choice? Would you have done the same? Let me know. And if you loved this story, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.